I'm coming into work off duty. I'm behind a driver that is involved in some kind of hit and run accident.
Forgiveness is the hardest thing that any of us can ever do.
I've done a lot of healing, but when I talk about him, I still...
Officer Oswald, you are clear and out of service.
I've never met somebody with that big of a heart.
He really wanted to make a difference.
I do tear up and when I talk about him and when I remember him.
They took an oath to serve and protect.
Let's remember why we're riding today. Everyone has an officer they're riding for.
All these guys, they're here to support our son and we support them.
Men and women in blue giving everything for their community.
Any cop that tells you that they don't get scared is completely lying to you.
It just happened, everything happened so fast.
I think the Lord put him there at that spot.
As soon as I'd heard that he was shot, I got on the phone, called all my friends, and said, start praying.
The legacy of the fallen.
My son in his short life had a very meaningful life and a very impactful life.
Blaze is a true hero. Not only is he a hero in his community, he's my hero.
When it gets hard out there, when the wind's in your face, just remember.
There's a lot of them that don't make it home.
It shows that what we do matters and what happens to us matters as well.
He always wanted to help, but he also knew that he wanted to protect.
I think that that was what he was destined to do.
A heartfelt trek 100 miles long.
A ride for the fallen.
When you ride by the schools, when you see the kids and the staff and they're all out cheering you on, the toughness of the bike ride, that goes away for a long time.
You have to remember why you're doing this and who you're doing it for.
Thank you.
We have to remember those that gave their all.
Welcome to KMBC 9 Chronicle. I'm Laura Moritz.
And I'm Chris Ketz. Tonight we take you on the Kansas Law Enforcement Ride for the Fallen.
It's a bicycle ride to honor those who sacrificed everything to protect the communities they served. In 2024, 148 law enforcement officers nationwide were killed in the line of duty. Over the last decade, nearly 2,600 have died keeping us safe.
KMBC 9's Andy Alcock is the first reporter invited to get on his bike and join the Kansas Ride for the Fallen. Let's join him at the starting line right outside the Leawood Police Department.
Wristband, emergency contact.
It's a day to ride, to remember.
We'll be thinking about Daddy the whole way.
To honor.
I feel for all the families. I know what they go through now.
We got everybody?
The Kansas Law Enforcement Ride for the Fallen is a 100-mile bike ride from Leawood to the state capitol in Topeka. It happens in a single day.
These are who our riders are riding for today. We have a correctional officer, William Owens, acting constable Richard Calhoun, Officer Cody Allen from Independence.
I got the memorial band.
The ride honors every Kansas law enforcement officer who has died in the line of duty, as well as some of Missouri's fallen.
We do have Cody Allen's family. Would you like to come up and speak, Mr. Allen?
Cody Allen was a police officer in Independence, Missouri when he was killed in February 2024.
Tim and Loretta Allen was Cody's parents.
This was his children, his Brody, his son, and Adley, his daughter.
Hi, guys.
You say hi to everybody?
And they love riding bikes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
They already got a head start on
Yeah, they already been running laps over there.
All right.
But it's been a really hard year, and it's awesome that you guys do stuff like this. We appreciate everything you guys do. You guys back there, we love it, and thank you.
Cody was shot while responding to a call for assistance after a gunman opened fire on a Jackson County process server with an eviction notice.
And I'm very sure that when he got to that house, he was laying it right on that line. He only knew one thing. He was going to go help that man that was on the ground. And that's what he did, because that's Cody.
Cody's last heroic act was trying to save the life of process server Drexel Mack. Both men died.
We come here for all these guys. They're here to support our son, and we support them. You know, I mean, it touches us. You know, it's still real hard all the time, but that's why we come here, for these people.
Every rider wears a bracelet with the name of a fallen officer.
Can you wear these and I'll get them back from you?
Sure.
When we see you again.
Absolutely.
In Washington, it says IPD Strong and then has his number.
All right.
Ross Capps of the Johnson County Sheriff's Office is riding for Cody Allen.
Got him with me, I'll ride with him.
Right on.
And then I got a little something.
Come here,
Brody.
Boy.
Hey.
Come here, baby girl. Oh, look at this shirt. Come here. Check this out.
Who is it?
Is that who your daddy likes?
Batman.
Is that
That's
Batman?
his favorite man, isn't it?
You know who
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, that's her. She
watch-
loves.
All right.
This ride marks the 6th time law enforcement officers and families of the fallen will pedal across the Sunflower State, traveling 100 miles in a single day.
And may the family and friends find rest and peace today.
I've also been invited to join. And KMBC 9 Chronicle is the first to document the ride.
Stay together, keep your head up, and let's be safe and communicate.
The journey begins with motorcycle escorts leading the way.
There's a whole handful of cycling abilities that'll be there. We got some Ironmen, some really hardcore cyclists who have to slow up a little bit. And then, you know, a group of people that just giving it their absolute all to keep up with us.
What a good day.
It's the first ride for Luke Gortney.
One big family here.
A new deputy at the Johnson County, Kansas jail. Luke's been on the job just a few months.
Right now, this is, you know, it means the world to me right now.
But his respect for law enforcement stretches back years.
We wanted to do something that would stand out and just make it like a big eye-opener.
As a teenager in 2019, Luke's Eagle Scout project was to design the space in front of the Johnson County Sheriff's Office to honor fallen Master Deputy Brandon Collins.
I'll walk around here from time to time during work. Sometimes it'll be late at night, sometimes it'll be early in the morning, and just being able to walk past it, you know, and just pay my respects every time I come out here, and just being able to do it in this uniform, it just means so much more.
Luke never had a chance to meet Brandon. A tribute stone outside the Sheriff's Department tells the story of his last call.
Information from Overland Park, there's an accident involved 11:15, not answering at this time.
September 11th, 2016.
We didn't even know that one of our headlights was, I mean, we just got the truck fixed a few days ago.
A traffic stop on 69 Highway near 143rd Street in Overland Park for a broken headlight.
And this truck came out of nowhere and hit him.
Call 11:15, checking.
A drunk driver slammed into Brandon's patrol car, causing it to burst into flames. The driver had a blood alcohol level of 0.16, twice the legal limit. He was sentenced to 12.5 years behind bars.
It's devastating, more so than just, you know, a friend in any other profession who may pass away tragically. You know, he was killed helping other people, doing what we do every day.
All units stand by for last call. All units stand by for last call. All units be advised, Deputy Brandon Collins served his community and country with pride, compassion, honor, and dedication to his service. Thank you for your service, Deputy Collins. You will never be forgotten. Sheriff's Office 745, you are clear and out of service. Rest easy, my friend.
You're not feeling it?
Brandon Collins is one of the many reasons for this ride. So are the 292 other Kansas law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty since records started being kept. The first leg of our 100-mile journey is just over 10 miles long.
Hey, how are you? Good, how are you?
Can't complain so far. Still early.
It wasn't long before we received some extra motivation. Students, faculty, and staff from some local schools came to cheer everyone on.
That's cool.
Thank you, thank you.
That's a great positive interaction with us. Hopefully they're our future. Maybe that will inspire them to become an officer or potentially a cyclist.
The overwhelming majority of the population that's out there, they support what we do every day. When they come out and cheer us on, the kids think it's great, but I think that the officers get more out of that than the kids do.
So I had another wristband, so I was able to toss one to a little girl, and hopefully she'll look up one of our fallen and find a good cause.
Honoring fallen law enforcement.
Having them and waving at us and knowing what we're doing, it speaks volume.
Is more than a bicycle ride.
We're going to be picking it up a little bit, especially on the flats, so just be ready for that.
It's remembering those men and women who gave everything.
We had talked about, hey man, if something happens to me, I trust you to help my wife out. And we agreed on that for each other, you know. Little did we know, little did we know.
Our first stop is in Fairway, Kansas.
He really wanted to make a difference.
It proves why the Ride for the Fallen is so important. Next on Chronicle.
It's a ride to remember those who gave their lives to keep the rest of us safe. It's a ride for heroes.
Our participants in the Kansas Law Enforcement Ride for the Fallen have made it to their first stop just about 10 miles into this 100-mile journey.
And as the riders pull into the Fairway Police Department, there's another sobering reminder of why they're here.
We incorporated this park last year as a stop in Fairway in honor of Jonah Oswald, who was killed August 7, 2023 at the Quick Trip in Mission.
Calling 2521. Calling Officer Oswald. All units be advised. Officer Jonah Oswald served his community and country with pride, excellence, honor, and bravery.
We're truly a family, and Jonah was one of us. He was brave, selfless, he was bright, he was funny. When a call came out, he was always the first one out the door. The white pickup pulled forward and couldn't go anywhere, and then started ramming Jonah and our police car. Again, you're sure, Jonah, you're not hurt. Nobody's hurt. He's like, I'm not. But Chief, the car's hurt real bad. On the way there, I was trying to learn what happened, getting sporadic information. I learned about the pursuit. I learned Jonah's involvement. I learned Jonah and the other officers went straight towards danger. That's when he made the ultimate sacrifice for those other officers and the people he was sworn to protect.
Every one of the riders is wearing a bracelet to remember one of the fallen officers. I'm wearing one for Officer Jonah Oswald for here at the Fairway Police Department. You can see they have a portrait out front here and also a plaque noting his end of watch, August 7, 2023.
Some days are just, I wake up and, feel sad about Jonah not being here, and other days it's easier, but thank God I've got great friends, and that helps me a lot.
If there's one thing Paula Oswald wants you to know about her son Jonah, he was talented.
He was an incredible athlete, soccer player. He started when he was 3 years old.
He was also a self-taught pianist.
He just developed it, and I didn't know he had that talent. And he just started really loving the, Mozart and Chopin. I allowed him to make decisions even when he was younger, and maybe later on he said to me, about 7 years ago, he said, "Mom, you never forced your opinions on me. You always allowed me to kind of come to my own conclusions."
It may be why at 17, Paula's free-spirited son decided to leave their home in San Diego and move to Kansas City to be with the love of his life, Hannah. The two were married in 2017. Along the way, Jonah graduated from the Army Reserves and chose a career in law enforcement. Were you surprised that he chose the path to become a police officer?
Yes, I was very surprised. Thought I was like a hippie mom. It's like, what in the world's going on here, Oh my goodness.
Paula supported Jonah's decision to dedicate his life to serving and protecting.
I've never met somebody with that big of a heart.
Something Mission, Kansas police officer Victor Betrago knows all about. He first met Jonah while working at Fairway PD.
It's hard for me to make friends, and the way him and I connected just like that over our job, over our personal beliefs, the way he was committed to family. I hadn't met anybody like that before.
Jonah was in the interview process for a job with Olathe Police. A background check was underway.
It would have meant a huge career move. I mean, he would have ended up being a supervisor, in my opinion.
Victor had recently taken a new job with Mission PD. Days before Jonah's death, he gave a reference for his friend.
Yeah, so I was telling him, man, I'm so happy for you. And he goes, yeah, I'm happy for you too. In a department like Olathe, he would have had endless opportunities. I wish he would have gotten that opportunity.
Information for all units.
The night of August 7th, 2023.
Lenex is in pursuit northbound I-35 from 95th, aggravated assault.
Jonah was killed after a high-speed chase and shootout at a gas station in Mission, Kansas. He was 29 years old.
Man, to be quite honest, I still have breakdowns. I mean, that's the best way to put it. I still break down. It's been hard. I work in Mission. It's not like I can not drive by the QT where it happened. There's times where I've had to pull over and just have my little session and then pick myself back up and keep patrolling.
Victor wears a wristband to honor Jonah, as well as something more permanent.
So, is that a cigar?
That is a cigar, yep. And then the American flag, because he was a soldier, and then his Fairway badge.
In his short life, Jonah told his mom he was going to start a family, and he did. Sons Jonathan and Benny are now 6 and 4. Paula wrote a song about them she calls Two Little Lightning Bugs.
Oh, Jonathan and Benny Boo, two little lightning bugs with their precious hugs, sparking up the night, lighting up our lives, flitting here and there, so much love to share. So I can see they both have different qualities of Jonah, and it's very precious. But it's hard to realize that Jonah's not here in the physical. It's just always, I'm like, wow. And I talk to him every day. I talk to him and ask him advice about, what to do, how to handle some things. And I feel like he's answering me, at least maybe I'm imagining it, but it feels like I get an answer.
Officer Oswald, you are clear and out of service. Rest easy, my friend. We have the watch from here.
As we all get back on our bikes, close to 90 miles remain, and every rider has their own reasons for making the trip.
I've been in contact with her family over the last few weeks, and her dad, and I'm sure probably most of the rest of the family will be there.
The part of the job law enforcement officers are always prepared for.
Our faith is often tested.
He stood firm in the face of danger and never wavered in the dedication of protecting others.
But hope never happens.
And he looked right at me and turned his steering wheel really sharp in my direction and just gunned the vehicle.
Families of the fallen finding ways to move forward when forgiveness is all they have left.
It's been a really hard 3.5 years, and but I do feel like I'm living for him.
I always walk out of my apartment having to be okay with death, having to be okay with, hey, this is the last time I see my family. This might be the last time I see my family.
They are the people willing to lay down their lives for our communities.
If you're not okay with the consequences, you're gonna hesitate out there. And that's not gonna be good for you or the people you're trying to protect.
How do you say thank you to someone who made the ultimate sacrifice?
We get scared. We do stop and think sometimes, like, oh man, this could be a bad one. But if not us, then who?
Participants in the Kansas Law Enforcement Ride for the Fallen are pedaling 100 miles in a single day. They ride for heroes like Officer Cody Allen from Independence, Missouri, Officer Jonah Oswald from Fairway, Kansas, and Officer Mike Mosier of Overland Park. In May 2020, Mike was killed in a shootout after a suspected hit and run. He didn't have a body camera, but took cell phone video of what happened.
Yeah, we're just east of 123 in Antioch, on 123. He got out of his car and confronted me, refusing to get back in his car.
I'm just saying, like, I know how the process works.
Yeah, but I need units here, please.
Mike jumped right in and confronted the hit-and-run offender. It ultimately cost him his life, but that's what we do. We run towards danger when others run away.
I think the Lord put him there at that spot. I don't think it was a coincidence. I think Mike was destined to be there.
Scott Mosier is Mike's father. A former police officer himself, he understands the calling.
Every police officer, in the back of their mind, it's there, that something could happen to him. Every firefighter, any emergency service person is putting their life out every day.
He also understands the importance of forgiveness and is bonded with the family of the man who took his son's life.
I have no animosity at all towards Philip Carney or anybody over what happened to Mike. My wife and I mean, we went to Philip Carney's funeral. We invited his parents to Mike's funeral. They had a son die that day too, and we need to know that.
You know, 2 cars through a light.
Our son was a very, actually, kind and loving young kid, and all the way up until, I don't know, in his mid-20s, he was a pretty good fellow, but then he got into drugs, alcohol, and it just turned him into somebody we didn't really know anymore, and he was dangerous, and that was very sad, and he needed to be stopped, and we are forever grateful for the sacrifice that Mike made in stopping him from hurting anyone else. Shelley Mosier said to me, Jesus loved your son as much as he loved mine, and we both lost a child that day.
We
taken the mercy and the forgiveness that they've shown us, and we've tried to project it to other people in our lives, to each other, to our families, to our grandkids.
After the shooting, part of 123rd Street in Overland Park was renamed Mike Mosier Boulevard. A permanent memorial also stands nearby.
The other day I was at Mike's Memorial on 123rd Street, and a guy was walking his dog, and he was just walking, and he said, "Oh, I stop by here quite often and say hi." And I said, "Did you know Mike?" He said, "No." But he said what he gave to our city really mattered. And I broke down. I broke down and started tearing up because it's the memories of Mike that keep him alive in our city.
Mike left behind an incredible legacy. President of the Fraternal Order of Police, 2019's Officer of the Year, 3 awards for valor, and after an unsuccessful attempt to get hazard pay for police during the COVID pandemic, Mike encouraged his dad to take up the fight by running for city council.
Be honest with you, I'm the farthest thing from probably a politician that you'll ever get. If he wouldn't have asked me to, I would have never run.
Scott was elected to the council in 2021. Just one more way Mike is still taking care of the community he loved.
Fallen Officer Mike Mosier, badge 917, end of watch May 3rd, 2020. Mike, we love you, we miss you, and we always remember you.
Welcome back to Chronicle, Ride for the Fallen. I'm Chris Katz.
And I'm Laura Moritz. Ask any police officer and they'll tell you they were called to serve. It was their duty.
And when one of those heroes falls, it's our duty to remember them. That's the goal of the Kansas Law Enforcement Ride for the Fallen.
Riders have pedaled close to 30 miles so far.
We did a great job that leg. We stayed together. It's going to be really windy as we start moving west.
Starting at the Leawood, Kansas Police Department.
All right, everybody be safe. Let's do this.
Winding through Overland Park, Lenexa, and past Lake Olathe. Until they reach their lunch break. And another wave of support at the Johnson County Sheriff's Office.
I'm here to support the riders, and you know, my daughter works for the Sheriff's Department here.
Let's see, I've already burned 2,000 calories.
Yeah, it's been really good.
See, I told you it'd be a good day.
I tell you what, every day we can do this. It's a great day.
But after taking a moment to rest and rehydrate.
All right, we ready? On you. Here we go.
We're just getting ready to leave the Johnson County Sheriff's Office here, head toward Eudora. The longest leg of this ride. Wind is going to be in our faces. The sun is out. It's a beautiful day. Unlike the hustle and bustle of the suburbs, this nearly 20-mile leg leads us out of Johnson County. And and into the countryside of Douglas County.
This is truly a beautiful and inspiring ride.
The scenery brings up memories of one little boy who grew up in the country and dreamed of becoming a police officer.
Be careful what you name him, because Blaze was a Blaze. He was always running and going and doing. And he told me one time, he goes, "Mama, I love my name." And I go, "Really, you do?" Because as a mom, you know, I'm worried, it's unusual. And he goes, "No, I love it." He goes, "People remember me."
Blaze Madrid Evans always wanted to serve and protect.
And my dad would say, "Blaze, what are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm catching the bad guys, Papa." Catching the bad guys. So he was doing that at 5 years old, 6 years old.
Blaze was a people person right from the start.
You could turn around and he'd walk away in a store, and the next thing you know, he'd be charming the cash register person, and he'd be checking out the people at the cash register, you know.
Homeschooled as a child, Blaze graduated from Smithville High School in Smithville, Missouri, then enlisted in the Navy. But he was released from basic training after failing a hearing test.
You know, he got knocked down several times, different times, but he never let it get to him. He'd always figure out the next step and go on.
The next step was getting into law enforcement. Blaze started as an EMT before graduating from the police academy and joining the Independence, Missouri Police Department. Then, just 2 months later, on September 15th, 2021.
I heard the tapes. He had audio on.
Blaze and his training officer were checking out a tip on a wanted suspect.
The most we could see was they had dash cams on the cars, and we saw him walking up to the house with his field training officer, and then they had other police officers there as well as backup. I heard his voice talking to Cody, the gentleman that shot him and murdered him. And, you know, and he was trying to just de-escalate. This was Blaze. He was like, "Hey, Cody, man, we're just here to talk to you, you know, and just come on, let's just talk." And then it was, "Cody, no, Cody, no," and then boom.
I think about what if he didn't go into that garage. I think, you know, if he'd have walked in on the right side of the garage versus the left side of the garage, it would have all been different.
Blaze was just 22 years old when he died. The gunman was killed by other officers at the scene.
His dream was to be a police officer.
And 10 months after losing Blaze, one of his friends from the police academy would also fall.
We had an officer down, 2-1 in Clay.
July 19th, 2022. North Kansas City, Missouri police officer Daniel Vasquez is shot and killed as he approaches a driver during a traffic stop. The driver fled the scene, then turned himself into police 3 hours later.
Officer Vasquez, it's 10:42 for the final time. Rescue, brother. We have the weapon here.
Daniel Vasquez had been on the job nearly 2 years when he was killed. Blaze Madrid Evans had worked just 18 shifts. And another young officer, Sedgwick County Sheriff's Deputy Sidney Carter, had only been on patrol for 1 week.
On October 1st of 2022, Sidney graduated from field training. 6 days later, October 7th, about 9:30 p.m., she was responding to a disturbance out in the county. A marijuana-impaired driver, by his own admission, traveling through that stop sign at 85 miles an hour, struck the driver's door of her car.
Sidney Carter's end of watch came at just 22 years old. Tim Anderson of the Kansas Highway Patrol is riding in her honor and connected with Sidney's family ahead of the ride.
One of the things her dad told me is, he said, "You know, I see a lot of pictures of my daughter, and she's always in uniform, and of course I treasure those pictures. But he sent me this one, and I'd be happy to share with anybody, you know, who wants to look." And I mean, the world is a lesser place for absence of that smile.
Keeping the memory of these officers alive is what the Ride for the Fallen is all about. Never forgetting those men and women who sacrificed everything to keep us safe. We are now more than 50 miles into this one-day, 100-mile journey.
Don't forget to hydrate. This is important at this point.
Biking across the Sunflower State isn't easy. Still ahead on Chronicle, the inspiration riders find in the shadows.
He wanted to help others, and look what he's done.
And the different ways some of the fallen live on.
This is all going to be good. We got a short ways to go. We'll see you in Lawrence.
And we just pulled out of Eudora, heading to Lawrence. Still downhill action as we head out of Eudora. Chance to glide a bit. Pedaling 100 miles in a single day. The Kansas Law Enforcement Ride for the Fallen is a labor of love. Crossing the river here, the Kansas River, in Lawrence on Massachusetts Street. It's part of the ride. Rain or shine, nothing will stop us from reaching our final destination, the state capital in Topeka. Really tough windy conditions on this lake to carry. Doing the best we can. We're about 13 miles an hour right now. We've been averaging 15. There's now just about 30 miles to go.
Whenever you're struggling and you think you can't do it, just look at that shadow and remind yourself that that could be the officer you're riding for. So the officer side by side, riding with you and doing this journey. I always look for that shadow. Sometimes it's cloudy and the shadow's not around, but he's riding on my back.
My son in his short life had a very meaningful life and a very impactful life.
Blaze is a true hero. Not only is he a hero in his community, he's a hero. He's my hero because he saved my life. And
Mark Preby knows about heroes. The former police officer is alive today because of Blaze Madrid Evans, even though they never met. The story starts in June 2020. A driver was causing a disturbance outside the Springfield, Missouri police headquarters.
And he looked right at me and turned his steering wheel really sharp in my direction and just gunned the vehicle. I tried to back up and get out of the way, and of course I couldn't. And ended up underneath the vehicle, and I was losing consciousness because I couldn't breathe. One of my knees or thighs was up on my chest and in between the bottom of the vehicle and my chest, and I was going out. And they were able to roll it off of me. I knew pretty quick after that. I was in and out of consciousness, but I knew pretty quick that I couldn't move my legs. I wasn't hurting or anything.
Mark suffered fractured ribs and a broken back. It paralyzed him from the waist down. Physical therapy helped him learn how to adapt to his new life in a wheelchair.
It was basically, here we go, here's our new life, and what are we gonna do? My kids were amazing. My son especially helped with a lot of things that if my wife wasn't there, just couldn't help with. But it was just learning how this is how we're gonna live.
But Mark's new life was about to dramatically change again, just over a year later.
The doc comes in and says that my kidneys are failing completely. So I was kind of in shock. I was like, okay, and what else are we gonna get hit with?
At the same time, the family of Independence, Missouri police officer Blaze Madrid Evans was saying goodbye.
He reached into his pocket and it just happened, everything happened so fast.
Blaze was on life support after being shot in the line of duty.
When it happened, they immediately started working on him, and they grabbed, there's 4 guys, and they grabbed one leg and one arm each and put him in the back of a police car and drove him to the hospital and did CPR all the way to the hospital on him. And that actually is what kept him alive.
I mean, to see him at the hospital right after he got shot, laying in the bed, it looks like he could just have risen up and walked off. I mean, it was just that way. And
and the life support was where he was so young and healthy and able to donate all his organs.
There's a lot of people that are very fortunate that Blaze was an organ donor.
One of the people to receive new life from Blaze, Mark Priebe.
My phone rings and it's my transplant coordinator, and she says, hey, can you be in St. Louis at 7 a.m.? I'm like, absolutely. And she said, not only were you guys a match, but you were a perfect match. It gave me a third chance at living.
About to wrap up a very tough leg as we are getting to Perry High School.
Traveled more than 80 miles of this 100-mile trip to the state capitol and have reached one of the final pit stops in Perry, Kansas.
That was an excellent leg. The whole day has been awesome. We're safe, we're dry. Even though there's a little wind, heavy pedal strokes, an opportunity to ride for the fallen.
With just a few miles left to go, the journey offers one last surprise.
It's just all unbelievable that it happened this way. I had been trying for 48 years to get his name on this wall.
And a final tribute.
And we're here because those are our brothers, whether we wore the uniform or not.
To the men and women we will never forget.
Welcome back to Chronicle, Ride for the Fallen.
We are now more than 90 miles into this 100-mile journey across Kansas, honoring fallen law enforcement officers.
Waiting along the route, a surprise some may say was heaven sent. Andy Alcock continues our story.
It's been a long journey on the Kansas Law Enforcement Ride for the Fallen. After beginning the day in Leawood, Kansas, we've pedaled 95 miles so far. And have made it to the last stop before reaching the state capitol in Topeka. Little did we know, the story of another fallen officer was about to come to light.
I don't remember a lot of it because I put the windshield out with my head. You didn't have seatbelts in '76.
May 5th, 1976. Derby Police Detective Charles Delbert Meeks was on his way to a training exercise in Liberal, Kansas. He was driving with his wife Sarah on a stormy night when another vehicle crossed the center line, slamming into them.
He had a broken leg and a broken arm, and they transported us to St. Francis in Wichita, and 4 days later he was dead and I was left.
Sarah Meeks, her son Charles, and her daughter-in-law Ray-Jean came to support the riders. What they didn't realize, Charles' memory was close by.
It's just all unbelievable that it happened this way.
Ride support staffers Chris Petchnick and Crystal Hardman were the first people to greet the Meeks family.
We didn't even know where Tractor Supply was. And he said, there it is, there's the sheriff's. So I walked over and said, you know, what's going on? Is this the right place? And told her my name, and she says, I've got his bracelet.
So while Chris was talking to Sarah, he said, "What is the name of your husband?" And she said, "Delbert Meeks." And the name on my bracelet this morning was Charles Delbert Meeks.
There are now just 5 miles left in the ride.
Single file!
As we arrived at the state capitol in Topeka, more supporters were cheering us on. We ended by riding around the fallen officers' memorial. From above, you can see the memorial is shaped like a badge with a star inside.
That's cool.
Dedicated in 1987, the memorial now has 293 names of fallen Kansas law enforcement officers on it. And for the first time, it includes Charles Delbert Meeks.
I had been trying for 48 years to get his name on this wall. It's on the wall in Washington, and it's on the Sedgwick County wall.
One more name has also been added, more than 100 years later. Leavenworth County Sheriff's Deputy Glenn Curtis was shot and killed in 1924 after confronting a suspected bank robber in Linwood, Kansas. For the first time in 5 years, no Kansas law enforcement officer was killed in the line of duty in 2024.
Having a year where we have not lost an officer should be commonplace, but sadly it is not. We will be adding brothers to the memorial who had previously been lost to history. We will right that wrong and fulfill the promise to never again forget the sacrifice of Glenn Curtis and Charles Meeks.
A ceremony to honor the fallen began inside the Capitol building.
And we're here because those are our brothers, whether we wore the uniform or not. And they were our family, whether related by blood or not.
A candlelight vigil at the fallen officers' memorial.
Lord, as a people of this state and people of family and people who care, that we continue to care and continue to remember.
Following the prayer, everyone placed their candles on the memorial.
We heard sounds of freedom all around us. And those sounds of freedom are brought and are made possible by those who protect us and serve us.
Less than 2 weeks later, Luke Wartney and Ross Capps from the Johnson County, Kansas Sheriff's Office were back on their bikes.
Good work, guys.
This time, riding in the National Police Unity Tour. It ends in Washington, D.C.
On the back of our shirts, it says, we ride for those who died. And that's what this cause is all about. So just being able to do it for them and to do it for the people that we're riding for as well just gives you that extra motivation to keep pushing.
This time, Luke was riding for Johnson County Sheriff's Master Deputy Brandon Collins, the same officer he honored years earlier with his Eagle Scout project.
Being able to represent my county and who I work for and where I come from, that means that much more.
There's a saying, to live in hearts we leave behind is not to die. The memories of our fallen heroes will keep their legacies alive as long as we remember them. Officers like Cody Allen, who left his young children behind.
She has remembered things she hasn't forgotten.
We won't let that happen.
She knows who Daddy is, and she remembers things he did and said.
Officers like Blaze Madrid Evans.
You never move on. You carry that grief with you all the time. You bring parts of that person with you.
He's the man. He's the man. Always called him Blaze Man.
Officers like Mike Mosier.
I will forgive and will let the Lord do the justice. And I find that works out that way.
And and officers like Jonah Oswald.
That does give me some comfort. He's there. He won't be so forgotten, and he made an impact.